Oh, and welcome back to the Happiness Economy. Today I'm very excited because for the first time, we have, aside from Kate, for the second time, we have someone that I went to school with who is doing exceptionally well in life. And he's here to tell us his story about happiness and how he finds himself being one of the... Are you world-renowned? You are world-renowned. He's world-renowned. If he's not, he's going to be after this episode. But world-renowned chef, ladies and gents, put your hands together for Wandile Mabaso! Thank you so much, so much for joining us today, Pra.
Yes, thank you for the intro.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure.
Feels good to be here. I'm the second. Kate was the first.
Yeah, but only
and we all went to high school
we
together.
all Florida Park High.
Florida Park High graduates.
Yes.
And we're all part of that generation that when people ask us what school we went to, we say Florida Park High. It used to be a good school back then.
Yes, 2002 was when it ended, right? That was when we matriculated.
Still a good school, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's still where it was. I mean, you know.
No, I think nowadays the only thing that works is private schools.
Dude.
You know,
Sorry,
everybody's,
I don't know.
Everybody's
I don't
running
know.
for private schools, you know. So it's not like it was before. I think when we were in Florida Park, it was great. It was more multiracial, you know, everybody intertwined, sports, activities, culture. I don't think that exists anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I also find it sad that we live in a country where it's not like the rest of the world. Like the rest of the world, your university matters. You know what I mean? People will ask you, where did you study? In South Africa, I think your high school is more important than your tertiary institution. It's a weird thing.
But I think it's changed now because I think that when we were there, it was a good school. I don't at that time, great people come out of public school. Look at us around this time. And,
I mean, Florida
Park. I say that humbly. And Park is our year specifically. There were quite a few amazing people that came out of 2000.
Actually, we had a guy who was our senior because I went to Parkies for like a year and a half.
Okay.
I don't know how I became a prefect within a year and a half.
That's because they could see it on you, bruh. This guy can cook. He's cooking, this guy.
So before that, I was at Potchefstroom Boys High School. And it was a great school, but the same thing nowadays, you know. But I think, you know, it's about the individual and the guidance that they get. Yes, I do agree with you that high school is the most important. Our country, the biggest problem I see with our people in South Africa, we look at the 0.1% that's always moving around. Santon, Winnie Mandela Drive, Sandhurst.
The who you know.
For some reason, we think we're living in a first world.
No.
For me, that's the biggest problem. So not everybody can be a doctor.
Nope.
Not everybody can be an advocate.
Nope.
Not everybody can sit on a chair with a computer. And
not everybody can have matric.
Exactly.
That's where we live.
And I think in South Africa, what we need more is entrepreneurs who can create those jobs. We can't always rely on the government. We have to move as well. So entrepreneurship, create the jobs, you know, and get people to work more with their hands. There's a lot of work you can do with your hands.
But people those jobs with your hands are overlooked. It's not cool. It's not trendy. You don't see the welders on social media going, I just made this burglar proofing. You know, it's not that type
internationally, you see people posting their welding and
respect
and
woodwork.
Tradesmen, Australia, whether you're a plumber, a welder, mechanic, builder, those are big paychecks because nobody wants to do that manual labor. Before we get into those topics, let's just get an idea of you. So give us just a quick summary of, other than Florida Park High School alumni, who is Wandile?
Wow, I'm...
And do we call you just chef? Is it just chef? Do you have
chef,
doctorate in chefing? No, guys, go and Google. If you don't know, go and Google.
Tell us. Don't Google. Tell us.
Yeah, so I'm from Soweto.
Yeah.
Born and bred, raised by a single mom. And then I did have a stepdad who was a father figure by the time I was in high school. But because of my situation, I had to grow up very fast. So by the age of like 13, I was living in Kimberley, which is Northern Cape. I did my last year of primary school in Kimberley, Northern Cape. And I used to travel from here in Joburg Park Station by myself at the age of
13.
Not even 13, man. Maybe 11, 12, somewhere there. And I used to catch my own train. Used to stop everywhere from Pampierstad, all of those. I learned those by stopping.
Being on the train.
Yeah, but
I've honestly never heard of Pampierstad. I thought that was a made-up place.
no, it's
I
there.
really thought Pampierstad is a made-up place. You're going to end up in Pampierstad. It's the original where you get cancelled. You know what I mean? The paper place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was there, I can tell you. I know what Pampierstad looks like.
Yeah.
So even in Kimberley, I was in a boarding school, and then weekends I'd stay with family friends. But I used to run my own bank account by the age of 11.
That's crazy.
I used to budget by the age of 11. My mom just sent me money to this account, and now you got to use it this way, use it that way, use it that way. So I learned to be very disciplined, especially with money at a very young age.
I'm jealous of that.
And fast forward, we finished then matric, and all I wanted to do was cook. And I also started cooking because my mother wasn't cooking. She was always working as a single mom. So I fell in love with cooking, and eventually it's something I studied through hotel management. And then I went abroad and came back and then did my culinary degree as well. And as I was about to finish, because I didn't really work in South Africa, they got me from school, and then they took us overseas, and I was working in the US for about 5 years. Spent 5 years in New York City.
Yeah, which wasn't all glitz and glamour, as you've explained.
So I always say, they see the glory, but they don't know the story.
Yeah, because they look at you now and go, must be nice.
Yeah,
you love soft, easy.
I'll tell you, I went into New York City as a boy.
Yeah.
Right? I probably was like 24.
Yeah.
I went into New York City as a boy, alone. No place to stay, no job, no nothing. You're going to start from scratch with $500 in your pocket. And I was knocking from door to door in Manhattan. I stayed in a hostel. There was like 16 bunk beds. And all these guys would come back from partying because they're tourists, and then there's girls, and then I was like, man.
And you have to wake up forward.
I wake up, I get on my laptop, I check emails, CVs. Then I start the walk. I take my knife bag, I take my jacket, and I'm like door to door in all the best French restaurants. The guy that gave me an opportunity, how ironic, he grew up with Pierre Issa in Paris. Remember Pierre Issa?
Yes. It's crazy.
Was his best friend.
That's crazy.
So I was let in that restaurant, that French restaurant, simply because I was South African.
Yes.
And his
Pierre
best
Issa.
friend is Pierre Issa in South Africa, from South Africa.
Shout out Pierre Issa.
So, yes. But he scored an own goal, you know that.
Yeah.
It's another own goal.
No, but I'm just saying, this is Pierre Issa's comeback. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is the story we don't know, the story we never heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was very tough, man. And New York is a very cold place, physically and emotionally.
Winters are, and it's also concrete. It's colder than cold. But
the one thing that for me, I always say, if I didn't go to New York, like my life would have been different. New York is what made me. I think that's where I got the toughness, the grit. And also just to remain calm in hectic situations. So New York means a lot to me. I mean, but it's also a great place to be in. That place operates at the highest level of any industry, whether it's in banking, Wall Street, whether it's in acting, Broadway, stand-up comedy. You guys know. I mean, I've when I lived there, I watch a lot of Trevor Noah's stuff. We used to pay like $30. Not what he is today, but it's a.
Hey, listen, South Africans still can't sell a ticket for $30. Because you don't want to come and support us. That's just my moment. Back to you.
So New York is a place that really made me, and I got into the French connection of chefs, and they took care of me. Trained me. I got classical French training. And then eventually they gave me an opportunity to go to France.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to Paris, where I spent like a year and a half there.
Was any of this like in your dreams or part of your plan? Like you say, you fell in love with cooking, but did you ever picture yourself as being in Paris,
In New York,
in New
Paris,
York, you know, with the best top chefs in the world?
Wow. So I think any chef or aspiring chef would imagine that.
Yeah.
Because it's like with any career, you know, you'll imagine yourself at the top somehow.
Yeah.
You know. But I never thought it would be as top as that.
Yeah.
Living in New York for like 5 years, that's not only cooking experience, it's life experience. And working with the best chefs in the world. I mean, French chefs, they groom me. Working in 3-star Michelin restaurants in the world, you know, so...
From Soweto.
And maybe I think I'm the only or the first person of color to actually enter into a 3-star Michelin.
Yeah.
I don't know about our white chefs. Maybe somebody has been there, but we don't know about it.
Yeah.
So it was quite a privilege. And then meeting Alan Ducasse, who's like the godfather of cooking.
Yeah.
And he sent me to Paris. I worked there. And there I completed what you call culinary excellence.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about, the equivalent of...
You're a doctor.
Yeah, not a doctor yet. I think all chefs are doctors anyway.
Yeah. Surgeons.
He's a surgeon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I came back 2019 and we opened up our restaurant. It's been operating for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And we've won a few awards, a lot of awards actually.
Yes.
But
you and your restaurant.
yes, and we don't work for awards. You know, we've created a culture in our restaurant, in the kitchen as well, of respect and how we do things. We always trying to bring dignity back to people of color.
Tell us about the restaurant.
Restaurant, it's a 40-seater fine dining. It's in Bryanston, Hobart Center, and it was really an office before.
Okay.
Nothing else, just an office. And I used to do pop-ups there when I came back from France, because I didn't have a restaurant.
Yeah.
And the owner of the shop divorced, they split with the wife.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do with the space, so I had to buy the business and the lease.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how it came about. And then we started off with 1 oven, 2 ovens.
Yeah.
I bought furniture on credit from a restaurant closing in Maboneng.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started from those humble starts, you know, no investors in there.
Love that.
It's difficult.
Yeah, but
Very
love
difficult.
that. Love that because it's difficult and because it's so unheard of. And it also frees you up. You have investors, sometimes you're getting told what to do. And I think that's a very difficult space as somebody who's passionate and wants to be an entrepreneur. And you got to follow somebody's set of rules. So continue. What's the name of the place?
It's called Le Creatif. It means the creatives in French. So
I felt like I could speak French for a second. Right?
So really, that's where I pay homage to obviously the French chefs that have mentored me, which is another thing that's missing in our country, mentorship.
Yeah.
You can't always say the youth is doing this, the youth is doing that, they don't want to work anymore. They just focused on social media, instant gratification.
Yeah.
We also have to create a path for them. We have to mentor them
and give back and give back. We shoot a number of episodes on a day, and it would be last week's episode now. But we spoke to Prince, and Prince said something about this younger generation of comedy, and he worries that they don't have what we were. So I think pre-COVID, we did a lot of mentorship. We tried to groom a lot of comedians and really try to invest in the industry. And post-COVID, haven't had as much opportunity, but it also kind of felt like it was somebody else's turn now. You know what I mean? It was like, because I think with mentorship, it should be kind of that generational thing of
passing of the baton.
As somebody else comes of age, they then reinvest and fertilize the soil for the next. And then we were saying how excited we are about guys like Pops and that PNC crew. And there's a number of those types of guys that are now coming up and in their own way mentoring and grooming and growing. So I absolutely agree with you. mentorship and giving of self without expectation is desperately needed. Sharing experience, sharing knowledge, and being able to give. I think the comment was, after COVID, I think a lot of us suffered with a survival complex where you kind of just keep everything to yourself and don't want to share anything, and you know what I mean, which we gotta break.
Yeah, and I believe after COVID, they said the real pandemic is mental health. After COVID.
Fact.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, like with all of the things, so last number, doctor of chefing, got your own restaurant in Bryanston, then the perception from the outside world looking at you, and that's why we have you on, is because from the outside you look like everything must be amazing in your life. Like
I
go
remember
to sleep with a big smile.
Meeting you probably for the first time. Nicholas had spoken
Yeah.
about you years. The chef he went to school with that has done things all over the world. And the first time I met you was at my friend David Higgs's petrol station. What's it called? The pantry.
Yeah.
And you were having a coffee while charging your sponsored electric Mercedes. And then I was like, okay, there are levels to this game. And it's easy to believe that guy has no problems, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody's got problems. Let's start there.
Different
Doesn't matter where
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah, and we spoke about money, how some people perceive that money can make things better.
Yeah.
Sometimes money can make things worse, you know. You'll be comfortable, but I don't think you'll be any happier.
No.
So I wanna correct, because I'm really starting to lean into the power of articulation and the power of our words. Because you said something about money that day that stuck with me for a while. I don't think money makes things worse, but I think the love of money makes things worse. So I think that because you said a thing of, and we can edit this out if you're not comfortable with sharing the statement. But you said a thing of, hey man, you chase all this money, you chase all this success, you work so hard, and then your relationships are falling apart because you're not focused on that. You're spending all your time at the restaurant, at the shop, building this empire, and then, family life often suffers.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true.
You said it, yeah.
It's 100% true, and I think what I try and do is balance. Even the smallest of things I balance. If I know I cook the whole day at work, I don't want to cook at home, you know. And my girlfriend, she understands that.
Yeah.
You know.
Can she cook?
She.
Hey, you
She's
hesitated.
learning.
But it's too late.
She can.
You hesitated. It's too late. You saw the truth.
Now we have to edit
you took a split second. You took a split second.
So I'm in trouble already. No, it's fine. Don't edit it.
Stand on business,
Oh.
man. I love that.
Yeah.
So the first time I'd seen him after high school,
Yeah.
and then seeing you on social media with exploding with because I had no idea at school. We used to play rugby together, and that was about it. And then the first time I saw him was at the airport, finishing up a burger at that, where we smoke and
Yeah.
we used to do the
Yes.
thing, having a burger there. And I was like, it blew my mind to go. I even asked her, I'm like, do you know who you are serving? I hope this is the best
hope the chef
burger
knows.
you have made here today.
No.
Because how do you, what do you eat when you're not, is food a big thing?
I think people would think it's a big thing for me, but it's really not. There's a saying that says that a chef eats to sustain himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chefs eat scrambled eggs, bruh, and jungle oats.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not worried about.
So no, like even when I was working in France, you used to grab baguette, and they've got very good butter. You just grab that.
But look, French baguette and butter is not like our roll and butter. That thing in its own is you have to give it to them. It's also that culture of yesterday's bread is not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They must bake today, eat today. Bread doesn't get frozen there. That's and their flour is very different. Their water is very different. So baked goods I found to be very, very different. But all of my chef friends, what I've picked up is food is not like, it's not like it registers for you and me. Where food, like obviously food is a big deal for me. I love delicious food. Where for chefs, it's more your opinion of their food, how pleasing their food was to you, matters more than how pleasing food in general is to themselves. Is that true? So like you want people to enjoy it.
Yeah, so that whole subject is forever evolving. What it was
Teach
50
me.
years ago is not what it was 20 years ago. It's not, and chances are in 5 years it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So, and the best thing you can do is to keep yourself, but adjusting to that as well.
So, what is it for you? How do you feel when you put a plate of food down in front of somebody? How are you wanting them to feel, and how important is that to you?
Yeah, so my cooking is sometimes it's very deep. You can almost call it underground hip hop.
Are we? Are we?
You know, only a few can understand.
Yeah. No, because I've seen you.
Yeah.
You go hunting for things, go and walk in the
Yeah.
bushes and find things.
No, but there's chefs that are more hectic than me. Like a chef in Durban, Johannes. He he grows his own stuff. He doesn't deal with any supplier unless he sat down with you like this.
Okay.
You know, wants to know how you raise them, how you do. But obviously in
So these
Joburg,
chickens had names.
yeah, he's got a chicken called Vanessa's chicken, and the person who raises those chicken is Vanessa.
Are we? Are we?
So-
Shout out Vanessa.
Yeah, and he's a good friend of mine. But when it comes to the industry, shit, I lost
It's
it.
fine.
No, it's fine.
Where were we?
We were talking
Vanessa's
about
chicken.
the perception
Oh
of
yes.
Yeah.
how a chef feels putting a plate down in front of you.
Yeah, so over the years, we had cuisine grow, and they called it haute cuisine in France, and that's when they started doing that beautiful colors, plating, and the shapes, but old school, and it evolved to there, and they did that because they wanted to make the food now look beautiful.
Yeah.
And that became very popular 10 years ago, to a point where now it's gone back to the origins. Now everybody's doing cooking what they call new culture cuisine. So it's almost like not being an activist, but you being a voice through food. You are telling a story through food. You remember that food, besides sports and music, is probably the only thing that can stop wars and bring people together.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I tell those stories. My food, visually, it needs to tell a story. It needs to grab you. Most important than anything else in plating is the quality of the ingredients and the flavor in the food.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it comes up with smoke or a big bark tree or this or 20 waiters are holding it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What we care about is the flavor that's inside. So if you can get the plating right, you can get the flavor right and the story that you are telling right. I always tell my guests that if you don't, before you sleep at night, you need to be thinking about that meal. When you wake up in the
There
morning,
we go.
you need to be thinking about that meal. If that doesn't happen, that means I failed.
Yeah. And this is what because you are now mentor to your staff. And and which is also another thing that I love, that you've taken what you've learned from New York, from Paris, and you've brought it here, and you're teaching locals. Like whenever I go, I did a thing, and they had these students from the Johannesburg Culinary School, and I get to chatting to them. I'm like, one of the brothers is doing things there. I'm like, how long you been in the thing, and and I'm like, do you know Chef Wandile Mabaso? Then, but to see that excitement in their face where they go, yeah, I do. Then I go, I went to school with that, but it makes me very happy. But like, how important was that for you to bring that knowledge and share, and what are you trying to do with it, like for South Africa, and because you spoke about bringing the respect and integrity back into the kitchen, like what is your plan there?
Yeah, I mean, high level, really, I want to create a sustainable business, create a brand that can live past my life, something to leave for the kids that I'm going to make and the family, and be in the history books, and then also support the youth and the upcoming chefs, and support the industry as well. That's the ultimate, honestly.
Yeah. Who was your, like, did you have a South African mentor or
No.
to kind of guide you?
I've never had a South African mentor, and because we in SA, there's always those racial
Lines.
lines that are blurred, so for us, we would like to have actually students that we train that are of color. I mean, that are white, but we never get them
Of not color.
of not of not color.
Yeah.
But what was your question?
No, so it was just like, what is your... Because, so in the end, my question is going to be, does it make you happy to be the person that you
Okay.
didn't have?
Yes.
And what are your expectations or goals for those that you are mentoring?
Yeah, so I was mentored by the French chefs.
Yeah.
And going back to the racial thing, I mean, I was mentored by Europeans, by white guys, and sometimes they gave me more opportunities than their own French guys, because they could see the hunger, they could see the drive as well. But
It's fine.
Yeah.
Did you watch?
Keep
There's
busy.
a series on Amazon. Eric, you must know it. What's the series? The Bear.
the bear, okay, I've watched that.
So I watch The Bear, and I often have to remind myself that these are things for entertainment. It's not it's not based on a real life story, but how accurate is something like The Bear in terms of that type of life, that type of pressure, that type of stress when setting up a restaurant, getting it going, or is that just a hyper exaggeration of what your life is? Because from everything that you've been explaining to me, The Bear goes, leaves his little town, goes to New York, gets an opportunity to be mentored by one of the best. Okay, in his case, because it's entertainment, gets a bit tortured by one of the best. But then also, he's indoctrinated to this almost impossible standard to uphold every single day. Is that just a huge exaggeration? Because your story is giving The Bear.
Yeah, so I did say earlier on that I'm not a big fan of chef movies.
Yeah.
Because the narrative is always more or less the same.
That chefs are troubled.
always dramatic,
yeah.
Swear a lot like Gordon Ramsay.
It's like chefs. Firstly, chefs got a drinking problem. Chefs got a problem with drugs. Chefs are unstable.
Yeah.
Chefs are
Throwing
violent.
plates in the kitchen.
Got a harsh temperament.
Yeah, so I think, and for me, trust me, I'm lucky because I had the old school training.
Yeah.
And the new school training. I'm like one of the only few chefs that have had that old school training. And that one is where we talk about levels of corporate punishment.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've had those things. I've had sauces thrown in my face. I've been punched on my chest. I've been through the worst of stuff.
And
but
you've just got to keep
Spend
going.
the whole day making a thing and then empty it in the bin.
And you know what happens when you're in those situations? They make you think that it's normal. You just need to be smarter and think, this can't be normal.
Yeah.
Ever since that happened, and what I went through, I never watched those movies, and every time I watched them, they made me feel some kind of way.
I hear you.
So The Bear, entertainment, but we shouldn't be showing those things today. We should be showing the lighter side of being a chef.
You should be showing the side that, because from your side, what I'm hearing is, yes, The Bear in terms of parts of the journey, but the heart, the purity, the reason, the love. So, yours is giving The Bear meets eat, love, pray. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I want to go back to something that you said, which just, related to how I feel about stand-up, and I think relates more to our journey, where, when you start and you're in the hype of the thing and you start doing the thing, I think as a comedian, you want to get the biggest laugh. So if you're on a lineup, you want to get the biggest laugh. And the description you made about what your objective is now in terms of when you serve somebody a plate, I want this plate to be so good. It must be visually wonderful, but the flavors must be so great that when you get home tonight, you're talking about it, thinking about it. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you're talking about it and thinking about it. And I think as a comedian, you go through that evolution where you start realizing that, yes, getting the biggest laugh on the night is lovely in the room. But what's more important than getting the biggest laugh is being the comedian that they're talking about in the car on the way home.
Yeah.
The gag that they're discussing in the car on the way home. The giggle they have at 11 o'clock tomorrow when they think about coming to the show again. Like, you start wanting to be that guy instead of the guy that on the night maybe got the loudest applause. You want to impact people on a much deeper level. And I love that you said that, because it helped me understand I think the culinary arts, I'll call it, from a very different perspective, because it's very similar to us. We go on stage, we use words that we've prepared, that we've crafted with the objective of making you laugh and making you feel. But you go through the same process of designing a dish, thinking about the ingredients, thinking about the way it's going to be presented, thinking about the way the flavors are not only going to complement the dish, but complement the surroundings, the environment.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger, that harnessing of delivering an experience, which I think is the thing that is, the world seems to be working so hard to try to kill, is experience. Like, you know what I mean? We're trying to go virtual, we're trying to go online, we're trying to take it away
Instant
from face to face.
gratification.
100%. That, quick, fast, cheap. If I look at food, a lot of people don't even eat food. Like, what they're eating is 2-minute noodles and McDonald's. It's not food. That's not food in the old way. I also saw an Indian auntie do a thing, on a social media clip, and she said, "I see everybody on these diets, and you need this, and you need to take that vitamin. There's nothing better than good old-fashioned home cooking. Just cooking a pot of food. That's all you need, is in a pot of food." So it's so crazy. Then as I say those things, I just feel like a grandpa. I feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like, because that was the energy the opas used to give. You kids know nothing.
Yes. And
you know what I mean?
And you know what's actually true. And it's worked for me. Like, I haven't been besides injury or whatever, I haven't been to hospital in over 10 years.
That's crazy.
With the sickness. And I believe it's because of what I eat.
Yes.
So I'm always, remember in the ancient days, all of the spices, herbs, everything was medicine, natural medicine. And that's for prevention instead of treating.
100%. Now we take an antibiotic instead of taking stuff that is rich in vitamins.
Yeah. So I think food is something that we need to look at very closely, and we need to highlight it more, especially in Johannesburg. Good food. Like I said, we can blame all the youngsters all we want. At the end of the day, if we blame them, we must blame us too.
Yeah, we're the ones who fed them.
Yeah.
So, dude, what makes you happy about where you are now? What makes you happy in your life?
For me, because I was mentored right and given opportunities, for me, it's really giving other people opportunities. Changing, making a difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
Money is not something that makes me happy. I think that's something that I came to terms with probably in my 20s already.
Yeah.
To say that, listen, money is something, it's a tool, it's a resource. It's money is to make things work.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So for me, it's really the passion. It's the passion. Waking up every day, the passion gets better and better. Imagine, since age 17, the passion gets bigger and better. When I have tough times, like in New York City, just like at one point I was just like in a subway, just like literally crying. I was like, it was like minus 15, 20 degrees.
Overwhelmed with joy.
No, like I'm going home.
Yeah. Overwhelmed with sadness.
Overwhelmed with sadness. Like minus 15 degrees. New York is cold. You don't know anyone.
And the people are cold.
The kitchen,
it's also
the kitchen is abusive. It's a concrete jungle.
What am I doing here?
It's a concrete jungle. So I've been through all of that stuff. So what makes me happy, I see how hard it is, or how hard it was for me.
Yeah.
It still is very hard today. And when I look at the youth and I see you've got less experience, you've got less talent, you've got less charisma, how is it going to work out for you guys if it's already hard for me? So it's really giving them opportunities, changing their life, mentoring them, and just watching them grow and blossom.
Yeah.
For me, that's what makes me happy.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Because also you like you were saying earlier, it's not for everyone. Not everything is for everyone, and not everyone can be what they want to be. And I think for us, similarly in comedy, there's something so beautiful about seeing the talent, seeing the potential, and then working with somebody and seeing that talent and potential grow into exactly what you knew it could be, if not more. And it's a beautiful thing that I think we need more of in South Africa, bro.
Definitely.
It's hard. I'm always conscious in these conversations, like, you know, one of the things you opened with was how easy it is to fall into the trap of believing we live in a first world country. And a lot of that sentiment is first world sentiment, because, I mean, you'll understand how much easier it is to run a fine dining restaurant in a first world country, just because you've got such a big middle class and upper middle class, and just the ability to sustain yourself because your market is so much bigger. It's exactly the same as being a comedian. You know, the ceilings are definitely lower. Like, you know, the barriers are definitely greater, and being able to properly sustain yourself in the long run is great, but you very quickly can outgrow the pond. You know what I mean? You can very, very quickly get to a space where, you know, there's you've kind of done everything that you can do, and now have to start looking abroad. Do you think you'll ever open a restaurant internationally, or is South Africa it for you? I say that like it's defeatist. I'm not trying to.
So for me, I'll always be a global person.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I mean, I lived all over the world, worked in 4 different continents. So I want to be that global person, you know. So the future is, that's what we want. We want a restaurant in London.
Yeah.
We want to Le Creatives in Las Vegas.
Nice.
You know, we want a restaurant in Singapore.
Yeah.
You know, but those restaurants telling their story of
Their spaces. Yeah.
you know, I just own it.
Yeah.
You know. So definitely we are looking at that, and before we actually even go out overseas to Europe or anywhere, we're gonna start here in Africa.
Yeah.
Love that.
So there's a big chance that we're starting something in Ghana.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's also a great market that not enough people speak about, and I think that, you know, it's always positioned as the con in terms of most African countries have this dual economy where you have a pocket of super wealthy people and the majority of people are not. But there's also great opportunity within those pockets, great opportunities to exploit. So the brother, I wish you nothing but the best. Do you remember a moment? You remember the New York subway moment where you were overwhelmed? Do you remember a moment where you were overwhelmed with joy, overwhelmed with happiness through the process?
Oh yeah.
What's a standout moment for you?
Oh yeah. So I actually had a recipe or a formula for all of this. You know. I'd obviously and the reason for that stress, you must understand, I was broke. I was in New York City. I was literally living on $2 a day. I used to buy a baguette. It's actually $3 a day. I used to buy a baguette in the morning, and that's what I eat.
Yeah.
$1.50. At night, I buy another baguette. That's what I eat. $1.50. And then I stayed in Harlem as well, which is not really your Santon or Sandhurst.
Cassie of the New York.
Yeah, it's the Cassie of Manhattan, and also I've stayed in an area called Bushwick, close to Bedford-Stuyvesant. It was literally a walk away from Notorious B.I.G. where you grew up. So you know, I was living there. I was really trying to save money, save as much as you can. But New York is so expensive. All the money went into
just living, just surviving.
Yeah, just rental. I used to pay $1,000 sharing a 3-bedroom apartment. This is back in 2013.
Yes, I can believe that.
1,000. That's what, 20,000 rand today.
Yeah.
Sharing.
That's insane.
Sharing.
For a room.
For a room,
and
literally.
which is why most people don't stay on the island. Most people, you know, train in and live off the item, because it's ridiculous. All the comedians we ever shared, and we know some that you meet somebody who's actually successful. They spend $2,000 and share with 3 other people to be able to live in the city, which is also one of the things that I keep saying to South Africans, how good we have it here. I think a lot of South Africans don't realize how soft we live.
No, this country's value for money.
By far.
So even the weather is beautiful, but back to your question, I mean, there's a number of things that make you feel vulnerable. Firstly, it's the loneliness. It's cold. It's like -15, -20. I was the kid. I was the youngest in the restaurant. They used to call me Nino. And obviously I was the steer boy. Go there. I remember one time it was snowing and I've got this box of cabbages and I'm trying to walk fast. There's snow everywhere and they just sent me to go get cabbages in the Manhattan fruit and veg market. They need it now, and then after that I get sent to the basement, which is like there's the ground floor, then there's a basement, then there's another basement. And the lower you go, the colder it is. Outside is about -15 degrees Celsius. It's snowing. And there I get like probably close to 1,000 fishes that I must gut and cut. So by the end of that, and then you are hungry, you got baguettes, and then you're living in that small room. You turn left is the bathroom, you turn right is the kitchen.
That's it.
And that's New York for you. So all of those emotions, and I remember that night in the subway, literally just thinking, and I started crying. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? What the hell is this crap? And then I was like, no, but going home is no option.
No.
If I say I'm coming back home, it's like I've failed. My parents, my friends, everybody will be like, oh,
failed yourself.
Yeah, failed myself as well, So I just really kept it going. And New York was supposed to be 6 months, by the way, just to tick it off. It ended up being 5 years.
Changed your life.
Straight after those vulnerable feelings, I then tried to consult myself, and then that's when I start to visualize. I'm like, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing this. This is a marathon. This is what the finish line looks like. This is what... And those days back in 2013, trust me, I was thinking about my restaurant that we currently have now. So those are the only things that kept me going, know. And I always say to people that it's like running a marathon. You need to... I see guys sprinting. And you're like, what's up with this guy? And we've all seen that, right?
Yeah, you're going to get tired.
And then wasn't this guy the best? Or wasn't this guy doing well there? And 10 years later is non-existent. There's no sustainability. There's nothing. So it's a marathon, and you have to prepare for the marathon. That's what people wake up and go and live. That's not how you live. You wake up and you plan.
That's it.
What you're going to do today and what you're going to achieve and how you're going to achieve it, and how that helps you get to the next level. So for me, every single time I think about, the restaurant, what am I doing it for? What am I, what's my next move? And you also asked me about moving around and coming back. I left New York because I felt that I've hit the ceiling. By that time, in 5 years' time, I was executive sous chef, Started as a homeless guy there. Executive sous chef. We had opened up 7 restaurants. And when those things happened, I went back to that night in the subway and I'd be like, yes, that's why. Up until this day, I believe in that. Even today, when things are hard, I believe there's light at the end of the tunnel.
It's also, there's no light without the tunnel. Like, I can't explain it. You got to go through it. And it's so hard to explain. And I feel for this younger generation, because we often call them entitled. But I really believe that, they were told different fairy tales to us. We suffered from that fairy tale idea that everything's going to be okay one day and we're just going to wake up one morning and have no debit orders. And I think they suffer from the idea that everything is going to be quick, everything is going to happen now. You don't need experience, something else can learn it for you. But grit, determination comes from being kicked in the face. There's nothing better than the school of life. There's no better education. It doesn't matter. I can guarantee that as I say this, you'll agree with me. You mentioned that you were educated in some of the best institutions in the world, but your best education came in the restaurant, not from the schools. Your best education, your best learnings came from cutting 1,000 fish, from having somebody punch you in the chest and throw sauce on you. That's the school. My mother calls it the school of hard knocks. And you know, there is no substitute for experience. We do gigs often, and somebody comes to us afterwards and goes, "Yes, you must have been preparing for weeks." And then you go, "If only you knew. I only thought about you on the way here. Wasn't preparing at all." But that's because we've been preparing for this for 14 years now, in terms of getting ready and the preparation.
No, 100%, and I think once, like somebody like you's got experience, and yourself, Nicholas, you guys have been at it for the longest time.
Been
15 years this year.
And 14
14
years, you know, and you probably thinking because it sounds like you're running a marathon, you know.
That's what it is.
And you've got the finish line that you're looking at, and that's what you're going to work towards, you know, while you're doing that, right? And then they meet you. So here's the Goliaths, they're coming, you know. Let's say colored guys from your neighborhood, right? They will think that it's easy because 100%. You make it look easy.
100%. Experience does make it look easy.
Yeah, they don't understand that this guy actually knows what he's doing, and he knows what he's doing because he's been doing it for ages.
Yeah.
Tried and tested, failed. Tried and tested, failed, and then they look at it as like, this is it's easy.
I can do this.
So I think that's going to be the problem with the youth, but I don't think it's all of them that fall in that category.
It never is. It never is all of them. It is, and like I say, I'm not blaming them. I just think that their access to technology, their access to stories, and their access to they have an access to the final product. They don't have access to the experience. And every now and then, like you get surprised. I just come off a corporate gig, and we had a very difficult one because one of the people who were supposed to be on the conference passed away before the conference started, literally the night of. So the conference is starting in the morning. The person, passed away that night, collapsed, and they had to make the announcement. And when you're in an environment like that and you've got to make that type of announcement, there's very few, especially comedians, never mind MCs. So I've been doing comedy for 14 years, I've been MCing for 25 years. And when they make this announcement of, unfortunately, we have to announce, we have to have a moment of silence for the passing of a loved one. Generally, that's it. Comedy doesn't work at a funeral. There's a time for laughter and there's a time that it's absolutely inappropriate. But because I've been to so many events in my life over the 25 years, this is not the first time that this has happened. So, I now have the tools to go on stage, and I don't announce, I don't ask somebody permission. I go on stage, I use the tools, I get it to be able to pay the respect and get the audience back to where we need to be energy-wise, and we continue the day. And at the end, we do the dinner function, and I'm outside, and one of the guys comes up to me and he says, I just want to say what you did this morning was amazing. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, I don't know how you managed to reset the energy. He said, because I watched you do that. And then I said to him, what's more amazing is the fact that you saw that, because I don't announce those tricks. And it's exactly what you're saying. Somebody who's watching me doesn't understand the work. They see the product, it makes it look easy, but they don't understand psychologically the tools that I had to use to get that result, you know what I mean, and how I had to think about it, approach it. But from an experience point of view, I knew what to do because I'd had to handle those situations before. But we are out of time, and I did promise to let you go, so we have a very important thing that we need to do. But Nicholas got a question first.
No, I was going to ask, because we were talking about it earlier, and then we cut you off. We were like, no, let's save it for when we get into studio. And now we're out of time and didn't speak about the fact that you were telling us about your champagne.
Come on! Yes, I asked you about the things that make you happy. Bubbly. Talk to us about the bubbly.
Bubbly. Okay, so I partnered up with a wine farm or champagne farm in Champagne.
Yeah.
It's funny.
In Champagne.
Yeah, it's
so
funny.
You can't call it champagne if it's not from Champagne.
Yeah, and it's funny how a lot of people actually don't know that Champagne's a region.
Yes.
Yeah. I did not know.
You didn't know.
I did not know. Yeah,
Nicholas has been to
Switzerland.
Switzerland. He's been to places on earth, but
You don't need to know everything. You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we usually have like dinners where we do wine dinners, and then we
Yeah.
had the owners from this wine farm in Champagne. Fifth generation is
Yeah.
run by the sons, but the mother still the matriarch there.
Yeah.
right.
And they came in and we cooked for them, and they were so impressed. I even thought they were laughing. They're like, "You want to create your own champagne?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And Struce Bob, like Monday morning, there's a whole email.
Yeah.
And I'm
This is
like, I
how we
look at
do
it, I'm like, And then I looked at it, I called a few people, I'm like, what do you think? They're like, go for it. Literally in 3 weeks later, I'm catching a plane to Paris. I was there for 5 days.
Yeah.
Each day I was tasting for about 5 hours with
that's a party.
with the but tasting,
I know.
spitting,
Yeah,
tasting,
proper.
spitting, but it's like tasting raw wine. It's not
It's
not like
Not the
anything.
processed good stuff.
Yeah, it's like raw wine that still needs to be refined in terms of blending and aging and so on. So we tasted 5 hours each day,
Yeah.
and I really got to know the family and see the family. And it's Duval Leroy, the family. The first female champagne maker is the lady I work with, helping me make the champagne.
Fantastic.
We shot a whole documentary about it as well. And next week I'm actually getting honored by the champagne community at the French residence for making that champagne. But it was like spur of the moment. I've always had partnerships with beverage companies, but nobody has given me the opportunity to co-create.
Yeah.
Now, I knew in the back of my head that some smart ass is going to come up and say, oh, why did you go to Champagne? We've got MCCs right here in the Western Cape.
This is not a MCC, it's not a Prosecco.
It's not a Prosecco,
It's,
but listen, I got a better answer. My answer to them is like, but no one from there has approached me.
Exactly.
We had to get a whole foreigner from France, come here, offer me this, take me there, pay for everything, send me back to South Africa. 2 weeks later, send me samples, and now we are creating close to 10,000 bottles.
Late harvest, you were sleeping.
You know, so
No, and that's the thing. They don't, because then they go, oh, you don't want to work with locals. Then you're like, no, but I was approached. I did a gig where somebody else came to me to say, don't do this gig because of whatever. And I was like, my man, this person booked me. You are coming from somewhere who doesn't book me and telling me not to. It's the same mentality that I hate, that as South Africans, you have to get your flowers outside of the country before the country accepts.
same thing with Trevor Noah, right?
Dude, and so
classic. That's a classic example. The Trevor Noah. Nobody. I mean, I remember the guys were grilling him when he was still here. He's not a real comedian. And then,
no. I think the industry suffered a little bit of jealousy, and you'll see it in the chef space. Where I know for a fact that there are some guys that are critically acclaimed that are not the best chef of their class, not the best chef of their family, not the best chef of their generation, not the best chef in their friends group. But because things came together differently, they are the best. But Trevor, I would rather say, was a victim of our low ceilings. And sometimes people who are exceptional, like yourself, will have to move to other countries to be able to explore the real bounds of their talent, because our pool is small and has only so good. I think Vusi Tembakwayo did a podcast on it, and how the fact that, third world countries are difficult because you can be the most talented guy and some other guy's father paid for him to be in, so he's rather going to go in instead of you. And those are the difficulties where it's not always merit. We'd love it to be all on merit, but it's not always on merit, which does make it very, very difficult. So what is the champagne called? And when and how will we be able to get it? Will it only be sold?
will we be able to afford it?
Internationally? And what does it mean when you say you're going to the region to be honored? What does that mean?
It's like a champagne community. So it's either you're a champagne maker or you own a champagne or you're at that level. And it's almost like a society of some sort, and an honor, which is also like some sort of certificate.
So they've tasted it and they're like,
They haven't tasted it. It's
Come
not.
through.
It's coming in September.
okay.
That's my birthday month.
So we needed to. It's your birthday. So I'll send you guys bottles.
I mean, we couldn't have hinted harder. We really
Yeah, so it's coming September, and firstly, it's limited edition. It's a brut,
Yeah.
and I had to mix. I really wanted to make something that's that speaks to South Africans, because I said to the family, I'm like, listen, I need something. The French champagnes, or the champagnes that are drank here in France, a lot of them are acidic.
Yeah.
And I said, I know people back home that will drink champagne from 8 in the morning till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
So we don't want it to be too acidic. We don't want the acid reflux. We don't want tomorrow you feeling like this, that.
Yeah. I'm never drinking champagne.
But also
again.
flavor, you don't want to feel like my mouth is too dry now.
Yeah.
I can't drink more of this.
Yes.
So I went with like 70% Pinot Noir and 10% Chardonnay, and the rest was Pinot Meunier. And we mixed those, and
That's the South African one, the Pinot Meunier.
No.
I'm sorry. we have
Pinot
to-
Meunier.
I love how you try to keep a straight face.
Yeah, so
Being on it for these things, we can't make jokes. No, we have to make jokes.
yeah, so I created a champagne that's suitable for South Africans, and I got samples like 2 months ago or a month ago,
Yeah.
and because this is something I did in Jan, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Long process.
Yeah, so we got samples, we tasted them, and the guys gave it 8 out of 10.
Come on.
The experts gave it 8 out of 10. But I wanted to make a wine that represents South Africa.
Yeah.
Represents the flavor of South Africans. I think something to bring two of my favorite nations, which is France and South Africa together. And you'll see with the branding that it's really got a Joburg skyline
Yeah.
at the back of the branding, and it's got my name at the bottom.
But
And then the
that is
farm.
crazy. An
Yeah.
actual champagne with a Joburg skyline.
Yeah, it's got a Joburg
man.
skyline. I'll show you the photo. I can even send it to you if you want to
Please.
put it.
We're
up.
gonna put it up. We're gonna put it up. Yes.
So I wanted a wine that works for our people in terms of flavor,
Yeah.
and also a wine that's matured enough and serious enough to use in food, in fine dining. So we don't want to flood the market for that. So you're not gonna find it at Tops or. No, it's going to be probably online sale or at the restaurant to start with, and it's limited edition really. But I think with the flavor, with the story behind it, yes, it's made in France, but the packaging outside, the boxes, we are going to make it locally.
Love that.
Right, because I also believe in sustaining our country. Not that all the money just goes. Or all the business goes to France, So we'll get our guys here who can make those boxes with our branding, and that's how you bring the two together, Yeah.
Dude. I wish we had a bottle to celebrate right now, because we have reason to celebrate. Not only are you being honored, not only have you released a champagne, not only is Le Creative, did I say that? Close enough?
Yes.
Le Creative about to go global. I can feel it in my waters. But it is your 41st birthday today as we record.
Yes.
We don't have champagne, but we do have something. We do have something that Eric will bring in as we sing for you. Open it, take it out, make it look presentable there, Eric. Eric is about to bring it in a brown bag to make it look like it's a nip. Like it's a nip. All right. Okay. Yeah. Open it.
Dude,
Open
and
it.
before, so while he's
Open
bringing
it.
that, I just want to
We
say,
don't have a lighter.
Congratulations, bro. Congratulations on your life, and thank you for being an inspiration to the laity that's growing up in Soweto, to the laity that's in Eldos. Thank you for showing people that it's possible, your dreams are valid, and if you're willing to do the work and put in the effort and put up with the bullshit, because there's going to be bullshit, you can be great at whatever you want to be great at.
You're welcome, man. I learn as I teach.
And thank you for making the time.
Yeah.
We are so proud of you, my brother, and I love that you're just getting started. I get a deep sense of that. I get a deep sense of you just getting started. But for now,
Yeah,
Nicholas,
it's birthday
please join
time.
me, and Eric, please sing along. Here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to
Eric, show the
you.
camera first, this beautiful thing.
Happy birthday, dear Chef Wandile Extraordinaire Mabaso. Happy birthday to you.
Get out of the way, Eric. Happy birthday to you. Pa, 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 pa. I know you don't eat anything from McDonald's, but
should I blow it?
we got just you can blow some of that chocolate dust off just as a memento of make a wish. Make a wish. We don't have a lighter.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here we
yeah,
go.
piece of chocolate.
Here we go. It's a
Hey.
bit solid. I like how you tapped it.
I think this one is
This
a fake cake.
It's
Yeah, no,
listen.
it's a trick.
It's a what is this thing called, Eric?
It's like, wait, now it sounds like I'm on MasterChef. It's a chocolate ganache.
A chocolate ganache from
Oh.
McDonald's,
Locally sourced.
but it's also it's from McDonald's in Newtown.
Yes.
So we know for free this ganache has been waiting to be sold. I mean, let's be honest. In Newtown, you don't leave your
Ganaches
your-
are
you
not
know what I
flying
mean?
off the shelves.
You know what I mean? You're not in a taxi on the
I
way
say
to
go-
Newtown
go.
going, hey, I'm in a mood for a ganache today.
No.
You know?
So- So I promise if
Pull the mic closer there.
if you go outside, and I'll give you an hour.
Yeah.
Just go around and talk to people that live around the area,
Yes.
pass by. Ask them, do you know what's a ganache?
Yeah. Not one.
Not a
Yeah.
single one.
They know panache pots. Remember those panache pots?
Yeah.
If you find one, then
Then you can give
No,
them
for
the
real.
ganache.
No, that's what I'm telling you. This ganache, I'm not expecting you to chow it. I think you should try it.
it's from McDonald's.
From McDonald's.
Okay.
No.
No, it's safe then if it's.
Then, well, I mean,
Okay.
let's do it on camera, chef. Let's have a. No.
You know-
Let's not-
you know-
McDonald's is not paying us. You see, McDonald's, you
So-
slept on us. You could have.
What a lot of people don't understand, especially I think brands like Nando's
Yeah.
and also McDonald's. McDonald's fast food. It's not something I eat all the time.
Yeah.
I like their ice creams. I like their fries. Now
Yeah.
and then I'll have their burger, but it's not something that I would really go to. But Nando's, I worked there
Yeah.
when I was 17.
Uh-huh.
So I got first hand experience. I used to go to school, culinary hotel school, and then go and cook and
Yeah.
grill chicken.
Mm.
Their processes and everything that they do is very, very safe.
Yeah.
Like food safety for these guys are the
No, it's
ultimate.
huge.
Hence,
Especially.
hence why I say it's safe.
No, but I mean,
Okay.
there's that famous story as we close, and nobody could understand why Usain Bolt, before he broke the current world record that he still holds, when they asked him what he ate that day, he said he woke up, did a bit of thing, went to get some nuggets, came home, blommed a bit, list for more nuggets, went back and got some more nuggets, came home. Then everybody's like, you ate nuggets? Then you don't understand the risk of having an upset stomach as a professional sportsman. What a big thing that is. So you go to McDonald's anywhere on earth,
Yeah.
anywhere in the world, because you're
personally
going to go to
think it
some
would have made
places
him
where it's
faster.
dodgy, where you can catch a risky something, and you
Yes.
go there, you know it's going to be safe, and in fact McDonald's I think is known worldwide.
I think as a
for
sprinter, you should
not
be
causing
looking
you.
for dodgy food.
I also think chicken
You
licken you
reckon?
can
Yeah,
look
right.
into.
Imagine if you're on the line on your marks and your stomach goes, "Grrr," you're like, I need to get across this. Nothing's gonna make
I
you
would like
faster,
to
bro.
make this a serious learning moment, and chicken licken, we love you with all our hearts, but just look into the source. Look into the source. Nobody's talking about what happens, but I can tell you for free, it's not safe.
The sauce of what? Of the chicken?
No,
No,
that
the
sauce in the
soul
sachet,
fire.
the soul fire sauce, that thing is delicious,
Oh, okay.
but it causes.
Tomorrow.
No, it's soul backfire is what you have tomorrow. You have
You do-
soul
you-
fire.
You do handstands in the shower.
And your soul backfires tomorrow. I quite like that. Yeah, no, for real. You all know. We don't speak about it, but everybody knows about
Ladies and gents,
Happy birthday,
Chef
brother.
No,
Wandile,
thank you, guys.
Happy birthday.
Thank you
Bra,
so
thank
much.
you so much, man.
No, it's a pleasure coming here, and I hope for another invite soon.
For sure, bro. We are so proud of you. Now that we've invited you, we are looking forward to being invited to a restaurant.
Yes.
So that I can, because and I know it's those cuisine things, those cuisine places. I've trained myself eat a full meal before I vie through, just because you guys smart to sometimes dirty the plate. You'll put a small thing with 4 leaves and say, voila, it's beautiful, and then I eat that thing with a teaspoon, and I must act satisfied. I must pretend, oh, the flavor, hey, the flavor. It's not that, you know what I mean?
The flavor, but you're hungry.
Yeah, man.
Can I have 8 more flavors?
Yes. No, for real. Eat before you go. Before you go. My wife always says, you eat before you go. I said, nah, baby, I can't eat on an empty stomach, man.
I mean, you must look at who goes there. This man is just dealing with globals. Global citizen.
Come on.
I love it. From Soweto.
Yeah.
Parkies pupils participate.
Worldwide.
Yes, we do.
Worldwide.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Yes.
Be happy if you can.